Getting to be around Nick every day.
I was gonna say Susie.
Obviously.
Duh.
No, I really like covering the Apple events, the invite-only things that we get to go and, you know, see their new stuff unveiled and type out 140 character tweets every 3 seconds for, you know, 2 hours. It's an adrenaline thing. It's really fun, and, you know, not a lot of people get to go, but everyone's really interested. So that's been one of my favorite things.
For me, it's probably doing reviews of things I want, because it seems like just all the stuff I want is stuff we usually cover, so it's like almost like permanent try before you buy. Someone came into my room the other day and they said, "You have like a Juno room." And I said, "What does that mean?" And they're like, "Well, you just have all this really cool stuff." And I was like, "Oh, you mean like these 6 things that I'm sending back in like the next week and a half?" But it's like, yeah, here's a projector and here's a turntable and here's a speaker system and like 3 headphones in corners and stuff. I probably just look like a snob.
We get a lot of fun packages in the mail. That's pretty sweet. Gee, that's a good question. The word realistic is throwing me off a little bit because I want to say Portal 2 is pretty badass, but I don't know if it's realistic because you're a robot and you're shooting portals and things. Do you just mean like really awesome graphics? Then, you know, that's got it. It's got a great story. I like the Lego games, not realistic at all, but they just put out a Pirates of the Caribbean Lego game and the Star Wars saga, which has all the Star Wars movies in one game. What do you think, Nick? I know you're a big gamer.
I would say, well, yeah, if you're talking about graphics, Minecraft wouldn't be my first choice, but if you're talking about like what you can do, I would say Minecraft, because you can get online and see like the SS Enterprise in full scale. Yeah, it's ridiculous, and like entire cities being built in Minecraft. That's the only game I know that you can do that. I can hardly get like Sims to pee in a toilet, so that's not exactly realistic.
Minecraft is pretty cool. On Live, you should check out. It has a lot of games that aren't even, you know, they don't have to be available for Mac, and you just download a little kind of browser plugin sort of client, and it lets you play tons of sports games, top tier PC and console games, and you can demo them all for free, so that's nice. If you don't, you know if you want to spend money on Arkham Asylum or something, you can just test it out. So that's a good way to just see what's out there, and it doesn't have to be, you know, native for Mac, and you don't have to mess around with crossover Mac or Windows virtual machines or whatever. It all kind of just works. So check out onlive.com. You can sign up for free and do demos without ever paying a dime.
And if by Mac you meant iPad, that's probably still got to be Infinity Blade. Is that what that's called? Infinity Blade? Or Rage HD. Those are still just like, every time I see the screenshots, I'm like, I can't believe this was on a freaking iPad.
I get this question a lot. People ask me a lot. They're like, yeah, do you guys just get free MacBooks and stuff? I mean, okay, IT buys us, you know, our work Macs. Obviously, we're working on Macs. Most of the magazines here work on Macs. Maybe PC Gamer doesn't, but everybody else pretty much does all their publishing on Macs. But we get the new cool Macs. We get to put any software we want on them. It's much more freedom than your typical work computer. So that's fun. And then Apple loans us new things that come out, but there's always an end date. Sometimes we blow off that end date and make them beg us to send it back because we love it so much. But yeah, we don't just get to go to the Apple Store and be like, I want that and that and that and that. That said, working here has made me a bit of a fan person, so I do own an iPhone 4, an iPhone 3G, a couple of iPods, an Airport Express, an Airport Extreme, an iMac. Yeah, I kind of have a lot of Apple products, and I wish I could send them to you, but you'll have to pry them from my cold dead hands.
I mean, yeah, you pretty much covered it. I think, yeah, if we got our stuff for free, I really think we would all be on MacBook Airs.
Oh yeah, so nice.
Despite the fact that it probably couldn't do the processes we needed to do, I think we would make it work.
Most of them.
Final Cut Pro on like an 11-inch Air would suck, but I would do that. So yeah, and I have an iMac, a white MacBook whatever the like first generation. It was like the first Intel-based MacBook, I guess. I think. Is that
Classic.
right? The white, yeah. I have, my work 15-inch MacBook Pro, an iPhone 4 on Verizon, so that makes it the newest iPhone 4 so far. iPhone 3G, and an iPod Classic that's 80 gigabytes, which I would not sell for the world, because that thing holds more than my music. It holds my passion, my soul.
I think it's always the right time to buy a MacBook Pro, but
Actually, I knew this question was coming because of the magic of making videos and looking at the questions ahead of time. And the place I always check that I recommend everyone check is buyersguide.macrumors.com. And they do this thing where they track how long it's been since every Mac has been refreshed, and they kind of give it a green light or a yellow light or a red light. So according to that site, the MacBook Pro was refreshed about 200 days ago, and it usually goes 220 days maybe between refreshes. So that would seem to indicate that if the pattern continues, a refresh is on the way. So if you really, really need one, buy one, which is also always, that's kind of always the answer. If you need it today, go buy it, whatever. It's going to be great, even when the new one comes out. But if you really want the new one, and you'd be upset if you bought it and a new one came out in a month, then maybe you want to hold off a month. So, yeah, but buyersguide.macrumors.com is an awesome site. Yes, I will review your iPhone app. We get a lot of people will tweet us or just run into me on the street and just start shaking me and yelling at me to review their iPhone app. Here's the preferred way to get your iPhone app reviewed. I handle all the assigning and editing of that coverage, so send me an email. It's Susie@maclife.com, and just tell me a little bit about your app, what it's called. A link to the App Store is always handy because then I can just click that link and go to the page. The magic of the interwebs. And obviously we get more requests than we can actually review because I think 100 bajillion apps go up every day, and it's kind of a Sisyphean task to review them all and whatever happens. But if it's good, then we'll put it on the list and try to get it reviewed. Well, my iPhone 4 is kind of my right hand. It's almost never in my bag because I have it clutched in my hands with my brushes. So there's that. And if I had a MacBook Air, I'd say that, but I don't have one. But my sweet Core i7 MacBook Pro is usually in my bag, and I'm glad that I have a bag that can accommodate it. It's awesome.
Let's see. I'd probably say my iPhone charger and the cable. Which, totally crucial. We are always fiddling with our phones and fiddling with apps, and the battery just gets sucked dry. And also, because we work on MacLife, everyone in the building seems to think we have a magical tree that grows iPad cables.
You guys wouldn't believe.
Yeah, like every day. Hey, do you guys have a charging cable I can borrow?
Bring it right back.
Yeah, and we
Liars.
used to have a lot of them, and now literally I'm down to one, and I guard it with my life, and I never lend it to anyone, and it lives in my bag. So yeah, that's probably the most.
And MacLife Editor pro tip: when you run out of iPhone cables, don't go to Apple and buy one for $19 because that makes puppies cry. Instead, go to monoprice.com. They're like $1.30 or something. If you order 10, they go down. Get all your friends together, just order 20, have a party, use them to whip each other, good times. And you can seriously get 15 for what Apple charges for one.
Yeah.
So then you won't be so upset when all of the moochers come and steal them and promise to bring them back and don't because they're dirty liars. Monoprice.com for cables.
Figure out how many you think you need and multiply that by 10.
Order 5 more because they're so cheap.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be paying for shipping, you might as well get it right.
Wow. I'm the one that put that on the Facebook, and then somebody actually asked about it. Jeez.
The one where there's a big misunderstanding and like everything goes wrong. That was a good
Yeah,
one.
that one was really good. Let's see. There's a really good one where, like, I think Jack is entering a baking contest and Chrissy, like, accidentally eats the pie. And then I think they, like, buy one at the store and try to, like, pass it off as his pie. That one's pretty good.
That
And-
sounds hilarious.
yeah. And then there's one where I think Mrs. Roper tells Stanley that, like, he's unattractive and, like, no woman would ever fail for him. So then he goes to the Regal Beagle and Jack sets up, like, some friend of his to come down and, like, hit on Mr. Roper, and, you know, there's a misunderstanding and hilarity ensues. You know,
Classic.
they're really all good. It's like picking, you know,
Favorite child?
your favorite child or your favorite puppy or...
I don't think I've ever really seen Three's Company.
Really?
I mean, I know the theme song.